Yeah, this is not going to be the most fun video. I'm just going to basically be complaining about why sports teams in X should be located and why. But let's do it anyway. I think my biggest problem is the way that the MLB spaces their maps out. It's pretty poorly, in case you haven't been wondering. A lot of cities that normally get to enjoy a sports team actually don't get anything, and it's annoying. Like, there's a few cities in particular that I really think should get a team that don't. I think in particular, Las Vegas, Nashville. Those are just the two most egregious examples, in my opinion, of not having a baseball team. I think there's plenty of cities that really should have baseball teams, but don't. And we're going to talk about other sports as well. Las Vegas can be solved pretty easily. Pretty much the problem with Nevada is that they have no sports teams, whereas California has 5. Normally you'd expect, yes, there to be a lot more sports teams in California, but Las Vegas really is of a population that can handle a sports team, a baseball team. I mean, plenty of smaller cities have baseball teams, and they already now have a football team and a hockey team. For football, they had the Oakland Raiders move to Las Vegas. Why can't the Oakland Athletics also move to Las Vegas? When you think about it, San Francisco and the Bay Area, they don't need 2 baseball teams, considering that plenty of other smaller metro areas, like Dallas, only have 1. There's no need for the Bay Area to have 2 baseball teams. The San Francisco Giants are enough. Move the Oakland Athletics into Las Vegas and stop making the people of Nevada root for either LA or San Diego, because those are their only real choices right now. I mean, I guess there's also Phoenix. Nashville is another example. There's actually one example that I forgot about. It might be harder to get a baseball team in here, but we are either Memphis or Nashville, but I think in particular, in this case, Nashville, they really do deserve to have a baseball team. Nashville already does have football and hockey, and there is basketball over in Memphis, so this is the only sport that Tennessee lacks a team for. In a lot of cases, if you live in central and eastern Tennessee, you're forced into the Braves' sphere of influence. If you are in western Tennessee, you're actually more so in the influence of the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, this isn't as clear-cut because it's not exactly one city I can point to and take away from. I will say that in every other sport, Chicago only has 1 team, so why exactly in baseball do they need 2? My opinion really is move the White Sox over to Nashville. However, I'm not as optimistic about this as I am about the Las Vegas case, because it would destroy Chicago culture in the act of forcing them all to root for the Cubs. Chicago culture really is built around these 2 teams hating each other. So maybe that might not be the smartest idea. There's not one clear-cut team that I could just say, bam, you're in Nashville now. It would have to be done very cautiously and meticulously in order to get a baseball team over into Nashville. That, and also St. Louis, where they have football and basketball, but no baseball. I feel that there really should be a team, because otherwise you pretty much either have to root for the Astros or the Braves, and there's really no in between for this area. Arkansas is lucky enough to be close to the Cardinals, but if you're in Louisiana, you really got nothing. I mean, there probably aren't that many baseball people in Louisiana to begin with, but still, New Orleans probably should have a baseball team. But like everything else, actually having a team move over there is not going to be easy, and I'm not too optimistic about how this could happen. Hockey is another thing where it's not so much so me complaining about cities not having the opportunity. it's the fact that it's like a ridiculous cluster in the Northeast I think should not be quite as bad. The thing about hockey is that they actually give good representation to the country of Canada, and I like that. Canada does deserve to have some hockey teams, but the density of teams in the Northeast I don't like. Going up the coast, you have the Philadelphia Flyers, New Jersey Devils, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, and then the Boston Bruins. And it was even worse when the Hartford Whalers were a thing. So I'm actually glad that they moved down to the Carolinas. Again, the Carolinas is a place where I feel that, because they have every sport except baseball, they probably should have baseball too. But again, not exactly sure who I should, move down, which city should be sacrificed in order to give a team down there. There are definitely too many baseball teams on the East Coast. It's just a matter of which one to move. I would personally say I'd probably want to move the Baltimore Orioles down to Charlotte, because the Orioles are pretty much right where there could otherwise be such a nice battleground between the Phillies and the Nationals, and the Orioles being there is a big reason why that rivalry never really came to fruition, because there's not a battleground where the two teams can meet up. Their spheres of influence and clash. And it's all because of the Orioles having their sphere of influence. So I feel that if we were to move the Orioles down to Charlotte, we give the Carolinas a baseball team while also removing this general issue. Anyways, those are the 5 teams in the Northeast that are pretty much in a straight line. West into Pennsylvania, the Flyers also have another notable rivalry with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Going up north, you have the Buffalo Sabres, and immediately across the border, the Toronto Maple Leafs. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's then the Ottawa Senators, and then the Montreal Canadiens. And if you go to the southwest, there's a Washington hockey team, but I'm not aware of what it is. So, in that general area, you literally have 8 to 9 hockey teams. So about a quarter of all hockey teams are in that one small square in the country. My question is why? And also, where exactly can we move them? Where exactly can they be moved? Well, it's not so easy to designate a place to move all these teams, particularly because hockey is in this position of, it is nicely spaced out. Sometimes I'd say give Las Vegas the team. They already have the Golden Knights. And I'm definitely not advocating for a city that's small to have 2 hockey teams. San Diego only has baseball, so I would personally say to perhaps move a hockey team to there. Maybe move a hockey team to there. I think what pisses me off the most is just the New Jersey Devils. They should not be there. They just shouldn't. If you think about it, you pretty much, first of all, cut off half of the New York fans, because any New York fan who lives in New Jersey, they're pretty much rooting for the Devils. New York fans themselves are now split between the Rangers and the Islanders. I would honestly say that the Rangers should stay for nostalgia, and maybe the Devils could also stay, but then we got to move the Islanders somewhere. They cannot all be in this same area. We can't have 3 teams in the Metro, especially if there's going to then be the Philadelphia Flyers to the Southwest. Otherwise, I would say move the Devils to Trenton and have them be the Philadelphia team, but we can't do that because they have the Philadelphia Flyers. So, with different conferences, moving a team to San Diego, that's not going to be easy. I'm pretty sure that there's no hockey team in Wisconsin, so Milwaukee could probably have a hockey team. I'm also not aware of any hockey team in Indianapolis. I'm going to be honest, I am the worst with hockey. Hockey is that one sport that I'm not interested in. Maybe I'll become slightly interested in it if the Seattle Kraken make the playoffs and then do well in it. But honestly, hockey is the one sport that I really just don't care about. So I apologize for this. I know it's a lot of move them out, but me not knowing where to move them to, I don't know where the teams are. I probably should have thought about that in hindsight. And now it's just a bit more general complaints of cities that really don't have any sports teams. I think should, like Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky does not have a single major league team, and I get that most of the state is sparsely populated, but Louisville is a major city with over 600,000 people, and it should have at least one sports team. And really, what we gotta do is divert teams away from Ohio. Now, Columbus Blue Jackets should stay in Ohio. They're the only hockey team in Ohio. Columbus does not have any of the major sports teams. Keep them there. What I will say, though, is Cincinnati, you should probably sacrifice something. I don't really care who it is. It could be the Reds or it could be the Bengals. Not too aware if there's a Cincinnati basketball team. I don't think that there is. Just move somebody, please. Just move somebody, please. I mean, honestly, Louisville deserves a team more than Cincinnati does. So Cincinnati should at least hand over one of the teams. I'm personally saying it should probably be the Reds, because having a nice in-state rivalry between the Bengals and the Browns, with both being in the AFC North, is actually kind of nice. The Reds and Guardians, on the other hand, are in different divisions. So while Ohio's Cup would be ruined, I still feel that it will be for the better if they were moved. Or, who knows, maybe an Indianapolis team could be moved down south to Louisville. I don't know. Just move somebody, please. Louisville is a city that, out of all cities, should have a team the most. Kentucky is a state that, out of all states to lack a team, they need one the most. When you think about it, teams that don't have a states that don't have a team, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, and Connecticut all feed into New England, except Connecticut, which is split between New England and New York. And that's why I'm so happy that the Hartford Whalers moved. South Carolina really just feeds into the theme of the Carolinas as a whole. Alabama, Mississippi, they're too busy focusing on college sports. Kansas, well, actually, they have a Major League Soccer team, but I don't consider soccer to be Major League. Again, it feeds into Kansas City, which is in Missouri. And while there is, again, that one arena in Kansas City, Kansas, it's soccer. So I don't say it counts. Nebraska, again, they have Omaha, but what can you really do? There's just too many fan clubs that it would destroy, in essence. The Dakota is practically the middle of nowhere. Plus, they can feed into Minnesota, Montana. Again, no big cities. Same case in Idaho. Same case in New Mexico. They have Albuquerque, and I guess it might be better if the Utah Jazz were to move to Albuquerque. I would actually probably endorse that. But then when you look at the states, you then begin to see, Arkansas feeds into St. Louis, clearly. Iowa, again, not that many big cities, and also kind of feeds into either St. Louis or Milwaukee. Then when you really begin to think about it, you really get to those states that, you really just got to wonder why they don't have teams. And Kentucky and Virginia are, I think, the two that really should have teams. Oh, and I forgot West Virginia is in the middle of nowhere. And Delaware is too much consumed by Philadelphia. But Virginia makes more sense because the more touristy part is more spread out. And the Hampton Roads aren't really known for sports. Richmond really can't have a sport because it'll take too much money away from D.C. and also lead to, again, this megalopolis issue. So Kentucky, really, the one state that just should have a team but doesn't. I might be in support of making the MLB into a 32-team thing. My only issue with that is that the 5-3-2 system would have to go. Obviously, we keep the 2, but it can't be 5-3. It would have to be 4-4 or 8-2. And I don't think I would like baseball too much if there were 8 teams in one division, and they were trying to move away from that. We could try 4-4. I think that might be a nice solution, but then it means that there's a chance that wild card teams can't move on, and then it would also model too much like football. The problem with the 5-3 method is is that as of right now, it does force there to be only 30 teams. Maybe if we can get 6 new teams in, we can have a 6-3 system and then just add 1 team to each division. But honestly, some divisions don't need the teams, and some of them need multiple. And I think that that's the biggest problem. I mean, we could have Nashville go into the East, but I still wouldn't exactly support it. They're central.